Well, today's ramble as we walk along the beach is about journalism. Well, not journalism specifically, probably the art of interviewing. It's been pissing me off for, I don't know, probably since about 2016. In this country, we've got something, well, America has it too, called PBS, but we have the ABC, which is a publicly funded broadcaster. In my case, I've just grown up on a diet of people interviewing politicians in a certain way where they're expected to answer questions. And if they don't, then the reporters hold their feet to the fire. I find this sadly lacking as I watch the destruction of US democracy and no one seeming to call into question to their face what's going on. I can recall that the only two people I saw holding Trump and his lackeys to any sort of accountability was one, I think his name was Jonathan Swan.
There are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
Under the
It's giving them a false sense of
circumstances right
security.
now, I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is. Look at some of these charts.
I'd love to.
We're going to look.
Let's look.
And if you look at death,
Yeah. It's started to go up
here's
again.
one. Well, right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world.
Lower than
We're
the
lower
world?
than
What does that mean?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
you can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have to go by where. Look, here is the United States. You have to go by the cases. The cases.
Why
of
not
death.
as a proportion of
when we have
population?
somebody.
Who interviewed Trump back in his first term. And the other one I don't forget, but I'll certainly put it on the screen here.
Let me ask you a basic question. Do facts matter?
Yes, they do.
All right, let's get a few simple facts straight. In how many states were Smartmatic machines and software used in the 2020 election?
I don't even know the exact numbers.
After all your involvement, let's leave the history. Just in terms of the 2020 election, what was Smartmatic's involvement?
Oh, you'd have to go look at our complaint with respect to the 4 states that we filed legal complaints in to get the details of that.
A Google search would tell you, let alone anything that Smartmatic themselves have said subsequently, that they were involved in one single county in LA. Are you saying you're not aware of that?
Well, I'm saying I think their involvement's probably a lot bigger than that.
But their machines were used in one county. You're aware of that. What actual research or fact-checking did you do at the time to find out what Smartmatic's actual involvement in the election was?
Do you work for Smartmatic?
You've made an allegation against Smartmatic that they stole a presidential election. I think it's incumbent on both of us to know what Smartmatic's involvement was. It seems like a pretty foundational fact.
I mean, I'm confused right now about why you're here.
Because you made a series of very strong allegations against Smartmatic and against Dominion, containing many errors of fact. Do you accept the fact now that the company that you accused of stealing a national election only operated in one county in LA in California? One county, one state.
No, I'm not prepared to accept that fact. I think Smartmatic's involvement was far more significant than that. Do I think they're trying to minimize their involvement? Of course I do.
You said that Smartmatic owns Dominion. How do you justify such a basic factual error?
I'm going to stop this interview. It's wholly inappropriate in the litigation that we're in.
But we're not even in the area of great dispute. These are the simple facts of who owns what.
No, we're done.
You see, in this country, in a half an hour current affairs show, I've seen reporters here ask 3 questions. A total of 3, that's it. If a politician refuses to answer the question. And I don't know what it is about America, whether it's impolite to get an answer out of a politician, that if they say you're un-American, as they did under George Bush, or as the current president would say, you're nasty, you're bad, and then the reporter feels obliged to apologize or move on and allow them to pivot. It just doesn't happen in this country. As I said, I've seen current affairs shows where they've asked 3 questions, and it doesn't mean you have to be rude. You can rephrase the question. You can either ask it in different ways, inquire in different ways, give information about the topic where you require them to answer in a different way. But I just don't see it in the States. Of course, this assumes that you have a competent journalist to ask the questions, and I don't know if that's half the problem, whether the journalists in the US are there as personalities. They do seem fairly bland and non-committal about anything other than simply filling up a segment of time. But you do need to have the background knowledge of the subject to be able to get the person you're interviewing to answer the question. Hell, I'd even use Trump's tactics. Many people want to know. Many people say. So that is my gripe. I don't think someone like Trump, and we have had someone like Trump in the 1990s called Pauline Hanson, I really don't think they would last more than one election cycle, because the reporters are very skilled at getting them to spill the beans, not allowing them to pivot, not allowing them to hide behind a wall of shame or guilt because you're asking a question. And yeah, it just really shits me off, and I wish that there were more journalists in the US who would do this. You might say, well, that's all very well, but back then you didn't have a whole ecosphere dedicated to right-wing politics. And you're right, it does make it a lot easier to just fudge the truth, to bullshit and lie. But there are times in every election cycle, in every administration, where the politicians, the president, the prime minister, whoever it is, they have to front up to the cameras. They can't just hide away in their bunker, because they need the support of the majority of people. And that's when you can hold these people's opinions, thoughts, actions to a standard, because they've got no choice. They can say whatever they like afterwards, but you can grill them until they're uncomfortable enough to either answer the question or not answer it. And believe it or not, spending 10 minutes watching a politician squirm if they can't answer the question, it can be just as beneficial as actually having them answer the question. I've heard many journalists here say in the end, well, I'll take that as a no. So it's up to them if they're going to front up and be honest or not. Anyway, good luck with your next election. That's better. Oh, no, it's not. Soft sand. So you're looking at part of a pelvis from a sperm whale that washed up here in 2024. I don't know what happened to the rest of it. I guess they collected it up and took it away, but it's a fair size.